Hey guys, it's me again. Today I'm bringing you a deck profile of a deck that has gained a lot of popularity this last week. It's Gravekeepers, with the new stuff in it, pretty much. They topped the YCS Atlanta, getting first, second, and third, I think. Just completely catching everyone off guard and, taking advantage of the new cards that are available for them. Okay, just want to start off by saying I am not presenting this as a new deck for anyone. This is pretty much a card by card copy of the deck that topped. The only thing that's different is I don't have my two-dimensional prisons on me right now, so I added an extra compulsory evac device and an MST to the deck to take those positions. So, without further ado, here we go. 3 Gravekeepers, Descendant, and what that does is when you can tribute another face-up Gravekeeper on the field and blow up a card on their side of the field. So it's a lot of your destruction, clears the way. You can attack with both your Gravekeepers, main phase 2, tribute one of them, and then, clearing the card. He can't tribute himself, if you're wondering. Next is 3 Gravekeepers Commandant. And what Commandant does is you can pitch him from your hand to the graveyard to get a Necrovalley to your hand. Good card. Next, 3 Gravekeeper Spy, probably the best Gravekeeper ever made. Used in all sorts of decks just for its ability to special summon from the deck. It's 2000 defense. It's got a flip effect that when it flips face up, whether by being attacked or you flipping it up yourself, you can special summon a Gravekeeper with 1500 or less attack, which is every Gravekeeper in the deck except for Commandant, who has 1600. Okay, next we have 3 Gravekeepers Recruiters. This is what pretty much made the deck as effective as it was. Pretty much anytime he gets sent to the graveyard, whether it be by card effect, synchroing, destroy by battle, anything, you get to search your deck for a Gravekeeper with 1500 or less defense and add it to your hand. Now that could be another Recruiter to thin your deck out. That could be an Assailant. That could be a Descendant. And that could be a Commandant to get Necrovalley with. So you could loop a ton off the card. Very abusable with Stele, which I'll explain later. Next, we have 2 Assailants. This is pretty much your not your beat stick of the deck, because other cards do get higher than it, but it's what's going to run over most of your main threats, because when he attacks with Necrovalley in the field, he can switch a battle position of a card. So he'll be at 2000 attack with Necrovalley, and he's able to switch defense. So a lot of monsters, Caius, and stuff you normally won't be able to just normally get over, he gets over. He also messes up tokens really bad. So like those fluff tokens, yeah, you're looking at 2k damage right there. Anyway, Pot of Duality times 3, another card that set the deck into the stratosphere, I'd say. You don't special summon with this deck except with Spy. And what Spy, normally Spy is going off on your opponent's turn, and if you were to flip Spy on your turn, you just wouldn't play your Pot of Duality. Or you would pay your Pot of Duality and not flip your Spy. You get to pick. Next, 3 Book of Moon allows you to abuse Spy if you do flip it up on your turn. Why are these out of order? That's annoying. And, stops synchros if you book the tutor the turn it's summoned. Stops attacks. Stops continuous effects like Jinzo. Just a great card. We are mainly running 3 for the fact that it is a good card, and then because it can abuse with Spy. This is another card that people haven't been, I wouldn't say complaining about because it's been around for a while, but they're just starting to fear again because it is hitting the meta game. Royal Tribute, when Necrovalley is on the field, you can play Royal Tribute, and both players have to reveal their hand and discard all of their monsters in their hand to the graveyard. Now, being the Gravekeeper player, you're always going to be doing this on your turn, so you can set as many cards as you want so they don't see them. You can get the monster cards you want out in the field first and then play Royal Tribute. But I devastated some plant synchros with this card today, and it's really not fair. Like, I'm not trying to be haughty or anything, it's just a ridiculously good card to have at 3. And they've actually gone from like $2 up to like 10, I believe, they were going for today. Next is Stele. Pretty much just recycles my Gravekeepers back to my hand. I can reuse my Recruiters again and again, get a Commandant if I really need a Necrovalley late game, Next is Necrovalley. Stele gets 2 Gravekeepers from your graveyard and adds it to your hand and is not affected by a Necrovalley. Next is Necrovalley. You only run 2 because you have so many ways to get Descendant out with Recruiter and just I mean, pretty much Recruiter. And Pot of Duality. You're almost always never going to be looking for your Necrovalley. You'll get out in the first couple turns almost every single game. It does suck if you lose both of them, but that usually doesn't happen by the time you win. So you run 2 because you do not want to have a Necrovalley in your hand and one on the field already. It's not a pretty sight. Allure of Darkness. Draw 2 cards, discard a dark from your hand, since all Gravekeepers are dark. Obviously, great card. Any dark deck runs Allure of Darkness. Okay, MST, this is one of the cards I teched in just because I don't have 2D prisons. The decks that top weren't running MST, probably because Descendant takes care of most of your back row threats, but I like running a 1 MST in most of my decks, just in case I get one card that's screwing me over. Okay, next Dark Hole. Self-explanatory, wipes the field of monsters. You know, and if they have a full field and you can play your Descendant, then Dark Hole, you get your card to your hand that turn if you need to. Next, 2 Solemn Warnings. Pay 2,000 to get a summon or a spell or trap card that special summons. Field Control, really good card. You do have to be careful with it though because it does take 2,000. Okay, so next is 2 Bottomless. Pretty straightforward staple. When they special summon or normal summon 1,500 or more, remove from play, yada yada. Next is 2 Compulse. The decks at top only run 1. I have an extra one in here just for that extra defense that I would normally get from Deep Prison. In addition, I mean, it's really good. You can stop big synchro plays. You know, they say they get a lone fire, time to tell, or lone fire, time to tell. However they do it, just bounce that time to tell back to their hand. Yeah. They don't like that. Next, 2 Starlight Road. And this is a card I don't really like at 2, but this is, again, I'm trying to emulate the top deck as much as possible. Starlight Road, if you think about it, the metagame right now, what are the big decks? Well, we have Plant Synchro, which can get Black Rose Dragon, and they run Dark Hole. So, you know, 2, I guess, I don't think you're in Starlight Road because you're going to use 2 in a duel, but because you want 1 in your hand. For whenever one of those plays goes off. X-Sabers have Hyunlei, which blows up back row, and Dark Hole. Black Wings have Icarus Attack, Dark Hole. You know, so I mean, it's good, but I mean, I may only run 1, if that. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to run this deck competitively. I did play test tonight and did really well with it. Had a lot of fun. But it wasn't really fair because I was beating up on Plant Synchros, and Necrovalley just really messes them up. It's not really fair to them. Next is Mirror Force. And then Solemn Judgment. And yes, that is a rare Solemn Judgment from Champions Pack. So we'll just go through this deck backwards just so you guys can see it one more time. If you have any questions about the deck, feel free to PM me on here. I like getting your messages. If I don't return your messages urgently, it's either the fact that I'm working on that response for you, because I don't like just doing generic responses like yes, no, no. Or I don't have time to answer it at the point in time that I read it. Or if you just leave a jackass message, probably not going to respond. But that hasn't been a problem so far. But the deck is actually really cheap to make, aside from the dualities and the warnings, which is, I mean, if you already have those as staples in your other decks, you can make this really easy. As I said, Royal Tribute goes for about 10 now. But other than that, the whole rest of the deck is really easy if you already have your dualities. You can get away with running 2 dualities easy. And just add in maybe another MST or I mean, just anything. So, Gravekeepers. People are like, well, is it tier 1 because it topped 1 YCS? No, not because it topped YCS, but because spots 1 through 3 were Gravekeepers. I mean, yeah, this deck's tier 1. I don't really understand the tier argument. Some people are like, well, it has to top multiple YCSs before you can consider it tier 1. Well, you know, getting top 3 spots at 1 is good. Granted, people will be starting to side for it. Noblemen have crossed out for Spies, and, you know, just stuff like that. People are talking about, oh, Ancient Fairy Dragons to start seeing some play again. I mean, that's fine if you want to waste your synchro on an Ancient Fairy Dragon. I mean, whatever. Again, good deck. If you have any questions, PM me. Put the deck list, the official deck list, not the one that was in this video, in my comment. Again, the only differences are that this deck has a Compulse and a MST, where there's two deep prisons. Actually, I want to talk about one more thing. Hopefully you haven't shut off the video yet. Malefic Stardust Dragon is a side deck card that I saw them playing. What it does is you could remove a Stardust. It just goes in your main deck. You remove a Stardust from your extra deck, and you get to special summon this guy. And he makes it to where your Necrovalley cannot be destroyed by card effects. Now, most of the time it's going to be an MST or a Raikou. Now, the Raikou can still target the Necrovalley, but it won't be able to destroy it. So if they don't really know what's going on and they target your Necrovalley, you can just kind of be like, haha, okay, can't do anything. But if they're smart, they'll just target your Stardust Dragon. But still, that's going to save your Necrovalley for one turn. Additionally, he can, if he's on the field, he's the only card that can attack, and there has to be a field spell on the field for him to be out. If it gets removed by any means, I guess it could still get bounced back with Brio or a Giant Trunade. Gosh, I'm going mind blank. This card would be destroyed. So that's the deck. Pretty straightforward. It was really easy to build. I had all the cards actually lying around by the time the deck list came around. So anyway, PM me, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe, guys. I love subscriptions. Again, I'm getting a flip camera for my girlfriend in a couple weeks for Christmas, so I will have stuff for my locals. I actually found out my locals has quite a few quote-unquote pro players. I wasn't really sure what a pro player was, but I guess I'll name drop a few people just that I've heard of. That I mean, the only person I've actually met, and actually I've met and traded with Jason Holloway and Ryan Spicer, who actually sold me my third Pot of Duality today, which I really appreciate. I guess there's Chris and Kyle Bowling, not really sure who they are. So where I play locally has a lot of good pro players, so I'd really like to start playing against them and, gaining tips and skills from them, and, that's just the way it goes. Check me out next time, guys.